This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there, it's Jeff Cardano. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe birthday boy. And the birthday boy for today, July the 15th. Well, he's deceased, but since I couldn't find a normal person, living person, to have this year's birthday other than Damian Lillard, who I did last year, I went with this guy. He is a legend in the world of the NFL. Four-time Pro Bowler for the Detroit Lions. And let's face it, how many Detroit Lions players can make the Pro Bowl? Anyway, he played from 1958 to 1970 for the Lions. And then he became an actor in Blazing Saddles, the comedy film by Mel Brooks. And he was even in the ABC sitcom Webster, alongside his real life wife. And then he was in Victor Victoria, that was the play and all that. Anyway, he's an actor. He died at age 77 in October 2012, but he was still an icon. His name is Alex Karras. Alex Karras. Actually, he's part Canadian because his father, who was a Greek immigrant, actually pursued his medical degree in Canada and met a Canadian woman, Emmeline Wilson. So his dad actually operated a medical practice in Indiana, but he died when Alex was 13. He was a star in football. Alex actually had two brothers who were future members of the NFL. Lou Karras would play for the Redskins, and Ted Karras would play for the Bears and Lions, among others. There were rumors circulating that Indiana was going to take Alex Karras. Unfortunately, Karras went to Iowa instead. Iowa wanted to get Karras badly and made sure they made him incommunicado. But Karras would struggle with Iowa because of classwork, his homesickness, and with his coach. But he did befriend some people and got everything going and all that. Karras was not too happy with Coach Forrest Evashevsky. He had a lot of issues. He quit the football team in 55, but in 1956 he was supposed to start against his brother Ted when Iowa took on Indiana, but Karras was put off the bench. Karras would quit the team. However, he came back and helped Iowa get to the Rose Bowl for the first time in history by taking down Ohio State. So they were in the 1957 Rose Bowl. Iowa crushed Oregon State 35-19 and became an All-American. So it's huge. So anyway, Karras would actually become one of the best linemen in the nation, winning the Outland Trophy. It was actually runner-up for the Heisman in 1957. That's pretty impressive. The only lineman ever to win was Leon Hart in 1949. Karras had a lot of issues with Coach Evashevsky, and it could have worked out being the greatest Iowa player of all time. Anyway, Karras would be a professional wrestler, earning $25,000 during the six-month offseason. Karras was taken in the 1958 NFL Draft 10th overall by the Detroit Lions. Now, the question on my mind is, did anyone make a mistake by not taking Karras? Alex Karras was defensive tackle. Well, he was the third defensive tackle. The Rams took Lou Michaels, who would actually be better known as a kicker, if memory serves me right. Oh, no, wait. Lou Michaels. Was he the kicker, or was he basically? Oh no, yes, he was one of the best kickers for the Colts in the 1960s. And San Francisco took Charlie Kruger before Alex Karras. And, well, okay for San Fran, but Detroit took a Hall of Famer. He was the first Hall of Famer in the 1958 NFL draft. He almost went to Canada to play for Winnipeg, but Karras was one of the most dominant defensive tackles in the NFL, playing 12 seasons from between 1958 and 1970. It was amazing. Karras was actually the chauffeur and wingman of superstar quarterback Bobby Lane for his late night party activities. And Karras would marvel at Lynn's ability to recover from heavy drinking sessions. Karras would become a veteran presence, but Bobby Lane got traded to Pittsburgh, and you know that 50-year jinx. Karras had an ownership share in a Detroit bar, but it was controversial because league officials said he should sell his financial interests because of reports of gambling and organized crime influence. Karras would then admit placing bets on NFL games and was suspended alongside Paul Hornung of Green Bay for one season. Karras would return to pro wrestling, but thankfully he was reinstated for a year. And one time when he was back in action, Karras refused when an official asked him to call the game to point out, saying, "I'm sorry, sir, I'm not permitted to gamble." But he did his job. Karras was an icon. He was signed a 7-year deal with the Lions. It was controversial because Karras allegedly threatened to sign with Miami in the AFL. But no, it was not to be. Karras forced another coach to leave. All that. So anyway, Karras only played one playoff game, and that was in 1970 when the Lions lost to the Cowboys 5-0. Karras was released after the 71 preseason, and he retired at age 35. He was still pretty good. So anyway, the Lions were not that great. Only 6 times of the 13 years Karras was on the team were over 500, making the playoffs once in 1970, both 70-71. He was pretty good at all that. He only missed one game due to injury in his 12 seasons. He made the Pro Bowl 4 times, part of the 1960s All-Decade team in the NFL. Ed was elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame January 2020. So anyway, Alex Karras was in the movie Paper Lion. And then in 1971, following his release by the Lions, he made several appearances on The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, and was part of Mary Tyler Moore. All that. Soon he would be an actor, and would actually be in the Western parody Blazing Saddles as the very strong and slow-witted thug Mongo, who rode into town on a horse marked with yes and no passing signals, and knocked out a horse with one punch. And Mongo was philosophical, saying he was only pawn in game of life. Kind of nice and all that. He was in an episode of MASH in 1974, and then he served 3 years on Monday Night Football as a commentator. And then he was known for telling people that Oakland lineman Otis Sistrunk is from the University of Mars. Funny. Alex Karras was, this famous Monday Night Football thing was in 1976 when the Jets were playing, and that's when Lou Holtz decided to be an NFL coach for one season before he went to Arkansas. perfect move. And Alex Karras sang the Jets fight song. Win the game, win or lose, your Giants sing along. Isn't that great? Alex Karras, for a little bit, actually hosted a weekly football program on Windsor's CBC affiliate, and which would precede the CBC's Wednesday night CFL telecast. Karras would actually be a sheriff in Porky's. He was James Gardner's closeted gay boyfriend, gay bodyguard in Victor Victoria. It was in Against All Odds. Anyway, yeah, Alex Karras did some stuff and all that. But in the 1980s, he was known for his role in Webster. He was George Papadopoulos, who was the title character's adopted father. Like, Webster was adopted by George and his wife. His real life Susan Clark was his fictional wife in the series. So basically, yeah, Alex Karras was the lead in Webster. Well, Manny Lewis was, but anyway. Yeah. Karras wrote a memoir, Even Big Guys Cry, in 1978. Karras was named to the All-Iowa Historic Team and all that. Karras was part of the Mount Rushmore of Iowa football as chosen by fan voting. He was joined by Niall Kenneth, Chuck Long, and Tim Dwight. Anyway, yeah, it was fine. He was married twice. He married Joan Jergensen, who had 5 children. They divorced in 1975, and then he married actress Susan Clark in 1980 and had a daughter together. Karras would unfortunately suffer from health problems, dementia, heart disease, and cancer. He was diagnosed with kidney failure, and 2 days later he died. He was in Babe, the biopic about Babe Saharias and Babe Dickerson Saharias, and Karras played George Saharias. So that was nice. So, yeah, he was in a lot of things. Yeah, Victoria, yeah. But anyway, yeah, Alex Karras will always be known for his Webster stuff, but he's also known for being Detroit's only decent player of the 1960s, and that's saying a lot. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond Ado.